All right, and welcome to the Personal Growth Podcast of the Third Advent. As I look right at the camera, I see this huge window behind it, and it's snowing so hard here in Sweden right now. Fucking love it. Finally, there's some snow. Finally, there's some Christmas feelings. How are you guys? I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all getting through December well, buying some presents, getting everything set up for Christmas. That's pretty much what I've been doing, at least in my free time this week. Have been buying some presents, met some friends for some Secret Santa action. We drank some hot wine, had some cookies. So it's all been good. I'm really getting into the mood until next week, where I fly back to Germany and celebrate Christmas with my family and my friends. So, before that, we're going to talk some more about personal development. We're going to talk a little bit more about my previous week, how I've been, how I've implemented personal development concepts and routines into my life, because this is what this podcast is about. And I hope you guys get something out of it. I hope there's something that you can implement into your own lives. So, for people who have been listening to this podcast the last couple of weeks, you all know that I started a new job this week. So Monday morning, I got up and I put on a nice shirt and I went back to work just like I have been doing for more than 2 years before I quit and started my own company last August. So I actually went back to the same company where I worked before. It's a completely different position. I can already tell that it's a lot more fun in that position. It's a really nice working environment there. I met the colleagues and they're super friendly. Some of the people that I met in the office I still knew from back then. So that was really cool. You know, it's a little bit like a class reunion almost. You go back there and there's all these familiar faces that you have been around for years. And even if you weren't the best friends, you know, like even if the contact kind of dried up a little bit after you left, you still are happy to see these people, just like with a class reunion. You have a lot of shared memories, right? So that's cool. But yeah, of course, I have some thoughts about entrepreneurship. I have some thoughts about being an employee, being back in the daily grind, doing the 9 till 5, or actually more like 8 to 5. But having these fixed working hours, having a fixed salary, feels a little bit odd to be back in that kind of lifestyle again. Because I definitely had my reasons to leave that behind, and I honestly thought I would leave it behind for good. So, a couple of things that I noticed about it is that, first of all, it's a surprisingly big relief to not have to worry about money anymore. Like, if you're an entrepreneur, that's basically what you do every day from when you wake up to when you go to bed. You're worried about your next paycheck. You're worried about how you're going to generate revenue. You're worried about acquiring customers. Like, everything that you do from sunrise to sunset is leading towards that direction of generating money. And I know entrepreneurship is kind of like this cool, hip thing to do these days. And like, there's so many YouTube people talking about entrepreneurship and startups and how cool it is to be your own boss. And how fun it is, and that you only get to do what you love, and like you get to set your own working hours, and you get to travel the world and meet all these inspirational people. And while that is definitely not a lie per se, it is also not the full picture. Like, doing your own stuff, being an entrepreneur, even harder when you're not doing it with your buddies, but if you're a sole founder like I was, it's so tough. Like, I can say for myself, it's definitely been the toughest thing I've done in my entire life. And that is for several reasons. It's, first of all, so stressful when you don't know where your money is going to come from. Because I mean, you have your savings, hopefully, when you start your own company. But then you see those savings decline every single month. And at the beginning, there's nothing coming in. And even while your company expands and grows and matures a little bit, oftentimes it takes a long time until you can really sustain yourself. And it takes a lot of leverage to come to that point. And that leverage comes in different forms. Of course, you need work power, so either employees or buddies that you're doing the company with. But then you also need funding, and you need people who believe in you, and you need customers, and you need revenue streams, hopefully several different revenue streams. Like, there's so many things that come into play, and it's just so much nicer to go to work every morning and you do your thing like I did this week, and at the end of the month you're gonna get paid no matter what, right? Like, even if you fuck up, people are gonna tell you that you fucked up, but they're still gonna pay you unless you get fired. And even if you don't produce that much value for a certain period of time, for example, now in the first week, of course, I mostly had presentations and educations and introduction and all these different things that costs money to the company and doesn't produce any value yet. I still get paid. Like, it's kind of ridiculous when you think about it. I went there every day and I listened to PowerPoint presentations all day long, and I had a blast, and I had coffee with my colleagues. And got to know them and all these kind of things. I got a tour of the office, and I got paid for that time. Like, that alone kind of blows my mind, coming from an entrepreneurial background now and knowing only how to hustle for money all day, every day. Sorry, gotta blow my nose here. Sorry. So that brings a completely different mindset. You don't, you start losing that mindset that you got to do better, you got to do more, you got to expand, you got to grow. Like, this kind of mindset gets a little bit lost when you get paid no matter what. Just us being human kind of leads us down that path that we should do as little as possible and still get paid in the end. Like, if we can save energy, if we can preserve our resources, and still get the same desired outcome in the end, then there's really no immediate incentive to do more than that, right? And of course, if you're rationally thinking and if you have like a long-term perspective, there's plenty of reasons to do more, not the least of which is just making more money in the future by getting promoted and getting more responsibilities, and also just having more fun at work. If you take more responsibilities, I am almost certain that you're gonna enjoy being at work more. But that's sort of like it's a little bit tricky to cultivate that mindset when you go into work every day, and you don't see the results right away. Like, putting in more work doesn't immediately translate into you getting more resources, meaning more money. So you do have to apply this long-term thinking, which is not what we're designed to do. Like, as humans, we're not designed to have that kind of long-term vision. We're designed to preserve energy. We're designed to stay alive and replicate. So as soon as that is covered, it's very hard to go above and beyond that. But I still believe that always giving it your best will have a very positive impact, not only on your bottom line through promotions and so on, but also just to your overall happiness and life satisfaction. Like, if that's what you're going for, you should always give each and everything your best. And I know I talked about this before. I talked about how I worked at McDonald's, and even though it was a shit job, I still gave it my best. So I covered this kind of, but I thought about it again during that introduction week today. Like, even though there's a lot of positive things about this new job that I'm starting and the company that I work for, I still prefer doing my own thing, doing my business, being an entrepreneur, creating something on my own from scratch. That's still more appealing to me. So it would be easy for me to go into work and be bitter right from the start and be like, okay, I'm gonna screw these guys over. Like, I'm gonna do what I'm told, but I'm not gonna do more than that. I'm not gonna get emotionally invested. Like, that's a very easy mindset to adopt. And I think you're cutting yourself, how do you say that? You shoot yourself in your own foot. That's how you say it in English. If you do that. Because even though you might preserve a little bit of energy that you could then use after work to work on your own things, it's just gonna chip away on you. Like, it's gonna get really rough after a couple of months of doing that, doing only the bare minimum. It's gonna suck your soul out. You're gonna feel like you're wasting your time there 8 hours a day, and you just want to go home, and you actually waste energy trying to not get emotionally invested and kind of keep yourself detached from what you're doing. I don't think that's the right way to go. I think you should always give it your best, whatever it is you're doing, no matter how underwhelming the job might be that you're doing, which is, by the way, not what I'm saying about my own job right now. I'm pretty happy with what I'm going to be doing. But even if you have a really shitty job, I think the best way to go about it is to just embrace it while you're doing it and still look for opportunities and look for ways to grow and look for ways to upgrade your life and your career. But while you're at it, give it your best. Do what you're supposed to do and possibly go beyond that. And I think then opportunities will arise. There's always people in any kind of group dynamic, in any kind of social fabric, or of course in companies. There's always people who are looking for these driven individuals. People who want to make a change. People who want to challenge the status quo. There's always people who appreciate that and who are willing to support these kind of people and elevate them and put them into positions where they have more influence and more power to actually make a change. So these people will notice if you are going beyond of what is expected of you. So keep that in mind. And that's definitely what I'm trying to do in my new job now. Another really cool upside, besides the monthly paycheck, is just having people around. Like, as an entrepreneur, it was a little bit better the last couple of months because I was working in a co-working space, but still you don't really have that much contact with the people around you because everybody's kind of doing their own thing, right? And I don't even know what they're working on, and there's definitely no way that I can help them with it because, you know, different companies. But if you work at a company with a lot of people, you do have this kind of group dynamic that everybody's pulling into the same direction, and you have people to communicate with, and you have people who know more than you and who you can learn from, and you have people who are willing to help you, but then you're also responsible for helping other people along their path. So that's just something that I really enjoy. I love teamwork. I love interacting with people. I love elevating other people. And that was something that I really missed, having my own company and doing everything on my own. I missed having a team. And not only professionally, even though that's of course the main part, but I also just missed coming in on Monday morning and having people ask you like, hey, how was your weekend? Like, what did you do? Want to grab a coffee and talk about football results from the weekend? Like all this social dynamic that is happening in a company is something that I really, really missed. Probably the thing that I missed most about having a fixed employee position. So that's really cool to have that back. And there's a lot of colleagues that I still know from 2 years ago. So that's really fun. And I'm definitely, I would say I'm pretty good at making connections with people, which is going to be part of my new position. So that's really fun. I'm responsible for bringing different teams together. I'm not going to go into detail here, but helping facilitate different tasks for different groups of people. Jesus Christ, that sounds so vague. Kind of ridiculous. But for that, it's also important that I know all of these people and I know how they can collaborate and I know how I can bring them together or who I have to talk for different questions that I might have and different questions that I need to solve, different problems that I'm attacking. So it will require me to make all these connections with people. And to me, that's super awesome. I know some people don't work like that. Some people are more introverted. They're more like the, programmer type. They love their computer and their coding. And they're fine with working just like that. They don't need the social interactions around it. But I do. I love that. And I'm happy to have found a position where I can bring that into the role. So, yeah, that's positive things about being back at my old job. Some negative things, though, are that I already can feel that it's so easy to settle. Like, you know what I mean? You start working in a new company, and the first 2 months, probably the first 6 months, you're really challenged to just get into it and learn the skill set that is required to do well in your job. But from then on, you do a routine job and you have likely tasks that repeat itself every week or maybe even every day, and you just do that. And there's no real improvement there. There's no growth there anymore. And of course, like as I said before, there's ways to go beyond that and grow your comfort zone and look for new opportunities and ask for new tasks. I mean, there's always that component. But in general, I would say as an office worker and probably in any job, there is a lot of routine after a while. And that's something that I don't think I will ever get used to. And that was one of the main reasons why I did start my own company. I felt like I'm constantly gonna be challenged. It's gonna be necessary to upgrade my skills continuously, just like I'm doing here with YouTube. Like with every single video that I'm putting out here on YouTube, I feel like I am challenging myself. It's never routine work. Like, of course, you learn the skill set that is necessary to do what you're doing. But with these YouTube videos, for example, I always push my boundaries. I always try to go beyond of what I was capable of doing just a week before. And I can see the results in the production value, in everything around it. And of course in my subscriber count. And I know that if I would keep pushing for that, and if I would keep going down that path, more and more success would come. Of course, you start very low. You start with literally zero revenue. You start with zero on YouTube, but also starting your own company, all that kind of stuff. But then the upside is unlimited as well. Like, if you start an employee position in a company, you have a limited downside. Unless you get fired, you're gonna get your salary no matter what. But you're also limited when it comes to your upside potential. You can make career and you can climb the corporate ladder, and that's all fine and good. You can make a very good living doing that if you're doing well at your job and you're always, pushing yourself and trying to reach that new level. That's definitely possible. But there are limits. Like, if you're an employee, like, even if you get to the top management positions, which will probably take you like 20 years or longer in one company, then you still have only a salary. So you're still getting paid monthly, and the salary is not going to increase right away if you put more effort into what you're doing. And also the salary is going to be, I don't know, okay, let's not say top management. I mean, that's such a small percentage of people. But let's say like upper middle management, like a good management position, which is where most people max out, right? Let's be honest. They get like, what, 10,000 euros per month, maybe? Like, let's say, they make like 100K per year, or maybe even a little bit more. But that's where you max out. Like, that's what you're gonna get. That is nothing compared to what you can make when you're doing your own thing. Like, if you're selling stuff online, if you're, maybe not with YouTube. I mean, with YouTube, it's kind of hard to make 10K a month, I guess, only with YouTube. But then you can sell stuff to your subscribers. You can offer more things. You can offer merchandise, like all these different things around it. There's really no limit to how far you can go. And that holds true for both the monetary side and for growth and development and expanding. If you have a company, your company, like, you can expand into new markets. You can, of course, grow your company by hiring people. Like, there's no limit. There's never any limit. And I love that. And I miss that when I'm an employee. Like, it's kind of nice to have that security when it comes to the paycheck. And as I mentioned, I was really suffering the last 18 months not having that security. But I still think I'm less risk averse than most people. I'm willing to take risks. And I'm willing to take my chances just because I do believe that at some point you do need to win, right? Like, if you keep pushing and you keep trying, at some point you will win, and you will win much more than you win when you stay in a company and you get promoted. Like, if you get promoted, you get, what, like 500 euros more per month? Maybe 1,000 euros more per month, which would already be a huge increase in your salary. Again, that is nothing to having your own company and growing and expanding, ramping it up to, I don't know, 1 million in sales every year, 10 million in sales. Eventually you can start a $1 billion company. There is nothing that is holding you back right now from starting a $1 billion company and you becoming a billionaire through that, of course. It's going to be hard. I'm not saying it's easy. It's kind of like winning the lottery. But with a really good idea and with a really good work ethic and with the right mindset and with a little bit of brilliance, obviously, like, you have to be very smart for that, and with the right people that you hire, all of that taken together, it is possible. So I will always take my chances on that. I just love taking chances, you know? I like rolling the dice. And I'm going to continue doing that even now that I have a employee position. Because it's kind of what, you know, it's something inside of me. Some people don't need that. And the world needs employees, right? So it's okay that a lot of people prefer security over that huge upside potential. But there's also a need for people, I guess, like me, even though I wouldn't see myself as like this hardcore entrepreneur like some other people are. But I definitely have an open mind for taking risks in order to increase my upside potential. And there's a need for that kind of people too. Because guess what? They're the ones that start the companies that all these other people are going to work for in the future. Of course, a problem that I already noticed now after just 1 week is just a limited amount of time that you have in the day. Like, it is insane how much of your day just goes into work. And if you want to do two things in parallel, like for example in my case that I work my normal 9 to 5 job and then I want to still expand on YouTube and like grow my company and make some money through that, it is insane how much time that takes. And to be honest, this week I didn't do any work. Like, I promised you guys I would upload more YouTube videos. I'm sorry, I didn't get around to it. One of the reasons, of course, being that also it's completely dark here at 5 p.m. when I get out of the office, and then there's no way I can record videos at home anymore. So I'm really sorry about that. I wish that I had filmed more YouTube videos, and I'm promising that I will do that more in the future, but it's really rough, you know? You have to film them basically on the weekend, because that's the only days that you have off, Saturday and Sunday. And then you have to film a couple so you can edit them during the week after you come home from a long day in the office. That is quite draining. Like, make no mistake about it. Just because you sit in a comfortable office chair all day and you just basically look at a computer screen doesn't mean that it's not hard work. Like, you come home and you're tired and you're exhausted and you just want to kick off your shoes and like chill with your girlfriend or your friends and have a nice dinner and go to bed. And that's how I felt the entire week. I hope that's going to get better in the future, that I have some more energy when I get out of the office. But this week was really tough. So it's going to be a bitch with the time management to do everything I want to do in the future, besides having like a normal 9 to 5 job. Like, just maintenance of life takes so much time. You need to buy groceries, and then you need to cook, and you want to go to the gym 3 times a week, and then you want to catch up with your friends, and you want to spend some time with your girlfriend. If you take all of that together, that's a pretty busy week, right? I mean, where do you find time to still work on your own business when you do all these things and you try to do them well and you try to get 8 hours of sleep so you can be productive in the office the next morning again? If you want to do all that, you have maybe, I would say, 1 to 2 hours left on a normal workday. 1 to 2 hours that you can use for your own stuff and that you still need to take away from like quality time with your girlfriend, for example. So those are usually the 1 to 2 hours that people would spend on social media or watch TV, that kind of stuff. So you have to cut that back if you want to make something happen along working full-time for something else, getting that paycheck. So it's going to be tough to find a balance there, and I'm going to try my best. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work out. I'm sure it's going to take a while. I'm not going to fix that this week or next week. and then it's Christmas week, so it's going to be a project for the upcoming new year. 2019 is going to be all about time management, and I'm not good at it. Like, some people are amazing at it, or some people are super productive. I'm not. Like, I love doing videos and that kind of stuff, but it takes me a long time to actually get myself to do it. I keep postponing it, and I'm procrastinating, and it takes me like half a day to actually find the, not courage, but like to actually get myself to do the thing that I was supposed to do on that day. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting experience for me to see how that goes in the new year. But, you know, it's a challenge. And I think if you want something bad enough, you can make that happen. So another thing that I want to do in the new year, and that kind of ties into being more effective with my time, is a project that I will have here on YouTube by the end of every single month. So at the end of every single month, first time end of January, I will publish a video where I show you the progress that I've made during that month implementing a positive habit into my life. So, sorry if that came out a little bit confusing. So the idea is basically that I want to try different things, for example, meditation, or, you know, not using my phone at home, completely getting off social media. And I want to try all of these different things for a month at a time. And I want to document that throughout that month with a video camera, and then cut it well and put it out here on YouTube. And the idea behind that is that, first of all, it takes roughly 30 days to implement a new habit into your life. Like at the beginning, it takes a lot of willpower to do something that you don't want to do, or that is hard for you to do. And then as you get better and better at it, and it becomes sort of a routine, you need less and less willpower. And then after roughly 30 days, people argue, some say it's like 30 days, some say it's up to 90 days. But roughly around that time, it's so ingrained into your daily routine that it's not hard to keep going anymore. And you have that momentum going for you. So that's something that is really cool, I think, and something that I should try more. Like, I should snap out of my routines a little bit more than I do now. Right now, I kind of go with the flow and I try to do the best I can, but I think it's really good to, every once in a while, try something completely different that has the potential to be a game changer. And probably I'm going to fail every once in a while, and it's going to be really tough. But I'm looking forward to it. And I think it's going to be a cool project to share here on YouTube with you guys as well. So that's something you can already look forward to for 2019. To be honest, I was going to try that in December now already. I wanted to try if I can meditate for an hour every single day of December. And I failed so quickly, it was not even funny. Like, I think I did it one day. And after that, like the next day, I only did 20 minutes. And then last week, when I was, you know, working full time, I completely fell off the wagon. So I already know that it's going to be very hard. And it's way easier said than done. Like, oh, I'm going to do this cool project, like 30 days meditation. And then you try it and it's like super hard. So I'm prepared for that now. I'm going to start 1st of January. I think it's going to be meditation again. I think meditation has huge benefits to anyone who tries it. and implements it into their lives. And for me particularly, I can feel that I have a very hard time just sitting in silence and not having constant stimulation going on. So that's something I want to work on in 2019. And meditation, I'm sure, can help with that. And I'm eager to document my progress, but also my shortcomings and my failure in like one video that covers the entire month. So that's gonna be really fun, and that's something that I'm looking forward to do in 2019 already. And if you guys have any ideas what I should do for a month, then please let me know. Leave a comment down below, and I'm very happy to take it into consideration. Because there's so many things that you could do for a month, but I would try to really find the ones that would have the most upside potential for my life. Which things can I implement right now that would increase my happiness and overall life satisfaction the most? And that's what I'm gonna try to implement then. And I think it's gonna be a good balance to the 9 to 5 job. Because it will give me that feeling that I'm constantly pushing myself, and it will give me a feeling of growth that I do get through my job, but not to the extent that I need it to be satisfied with myself. And it will give me the opportunity to apply a growth mindset. You know, like you can do that in your job, of course, but I think a growth mindset really only matters when it comes to attacking things that you're not good at. And all these things that I try to implement throughout a month will all be things that I'm not good at and things that I want to work on because I suck at it at that point of time. So that's when you can train your growth mindset. And for those people who listen, who don't know exactly what I'm talking about here with a growth mindset, it's a concept that a researcher in the US came up with almost 20 years ago. Her name is Carol Dweck. She has an awesome TED Talk that I already talked about on this channel. I also made a video about the growth mindset that you can find on this channel. And basically what it says is, or what Carol Dweck says, is that there's a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. And people with a fixed mindset are the people who say that talent for certain things and being good at certain things is something that is innate. Something that you're born with and that you can't do much about it, basically. And then you have, on the other hand, the people with a growth mindset who are saying, well, I might suck at something, but I know that through hard work and practice, I can get to a point where I become really good at that thing that I initially sucked at. And they don't think that something like talent plays a really big role in success and becoming good at really anything. It's really more about the work that you put into it and how much you're willing to push yourself and challenge yourself to go to the next level. So I'm a huge believer in that, and sometimes I have a fixed mindset in certain areas and aspects of my life, but I try to cultivate a growth mindset more and more, and I think it's going to be a great way for me to push my growth mindset even further by having these activities that I do for a month straight. All right, enough rambling about work and growth mindset and my projects for 2019, even though that gets me super excited. What else was important this week? I didn't read that much because usually I read on the way to work in the subway, but now I had to, adjust to the new job and new offices. I didn't know exactly how to get to the new offices, so I was not in the mood of sitting down in the subway and reading. And then on top of that, the book that I'm reading right now, Nudge by Richard Thaler, who is a Nobel Prize winner for economics from 2017. Even though the topic is interesting, the book, unfortunately, I have to say, is not. Like basically, he just keeps listing topics that where people can be nudged, and he keeps telling the same story over and over with different examples, which is a little bit draining. But at the same time, I'm not the kind of guy who just doesn't finish a book. So I will read the book until the very end, but it doesn't get me excited. So I'm looking forward to start a new book soon. I will definitely take a lot of books with me to the Christmas break that I'm going to be having in Germany, because I usually have a lot of time back there, and I will have some time to just lie in bed and read for an hour before I get up and have breakfast and then go back to reading. Something like that. That's how I picture it. And I'm excited to read more of the books that I presented to you in earlier podcasts. On top of that, this week, besides not reading that much, what happened? Yesterday I had a really good workout. The Christmas liftoff is coming really close. It's like 10 days or a little bit more left. We're gonna have it after Christmas, unfortunately. Usually we do it on the 23rd, but I'm only flying home on the 23rd, so I have to wait a little bit longer with that. But then I'm really feeling that I'm getting stronger and stronger every day, working out like a beast. Yesterday I set a new personal record for bench press, 85 kilos. I know for the people out there, like all the crazy gym rats, that's not that much maybe for you, but for me it's a great accomplishment, and I'm surprised how quickly I got there again. Like last year I could bench around the same at this point of the year, but then I really lost it during the year, so I was surprised how quickly it came back now. So I'm at 85 now, and which means I can bench more than my body weight, which I think is a good thing to be able to do. And I'm gonna keep working on that. I have still at least one bench press before the liftoff. So I'm gonna push it even more there and see how far I can take it. So that's super exciting. And then, just trying to eat clean, trying to eat a lot, eating all the peanut butter I can find, eating a lot of brown rice, putting all this nice coconut oil on it, putting like 3 eggs into my fried rice every time I eat it. So I'm really, really pushing myself there because I'm such a hard gainer. I need to eat like around 4,000 calories every day to put on a little bit of mass. But I'm starting to see the results, and I don't only see it when I look in the mirror, but I also see it when I'm in the gym and I'm training. Like you do get stronger just by eating more and of course eating healthy. But it makes a huge difference. You need to put on a certain amount of mass to be able to bench press that much and to do overhead that much. Set another personal record in overhead this Monday actually. So it's all coming together and I'm quite stoked about that. I did have like a elbow injury basically the entire year, and that's also a reason that I was not at the level where I wanted to be most of this year. But now this is also better. I still feel it a little bit when I'm bench pressing. 85 kilos on your elbow is nothing to joke about. Can really hurt yourself there if you're not careful. But it's getting better and better, so that's cool. Very excited about that. Other than that, what else did I want to talk about? Okay, growth mindset. Time is a scarce resource. Yeah, kind of covered that. Yeah, maybe one more point. Sorry that I'm jumping a bit back and forth here, but to be honest, it is quite a challenge to tie different topics together in a 1 hour rant, basically. while talking to a camera like that. It's not the easiest thing in the world, so forgive me if I need a couple of key words here that I wrote down and I jump around a little bit with my topics. One more thing that I have to say about being an employee versus doing your own thing, and then I'm gonna stop, I promise, is that if you think about it, history of mankind and everything that has been accomplished, all the great men and women, obviously, that have pushed the human race forward. If you think about all these kind of people throughout the centuries, is there anyone who comes to mind who was not doing their own thing, who was working for somebody else, who was an employee, or of course, if it's not business related, in other fields, like who was just doing what they're told? These people are not the ones who push beyond of what people think they're capable of. These are not the people who are groundbreaking. These are not the mavericks. The people who make a change, people who make a difference, are the ones who are not restrained by a boss telling them what to do. And of course, that doesn't mean that people who have a boss who tells them what to do and who are working in sort of a bigger structure somewhere in the middle or even at the bottom, it doesn't mean at all that these people are not doing their part, you know. They do contribute, and in fact, all these people on top would not be able to do the great things that they did without the people a little bit below them. You need people to actually execute, and especially when it comes to companies, you need like the thousands and thousands of employees that make things go round. But that being said, the people who really stand the test of time, even after they're long gone, the people who are being remembered are the people who are at the top. And it doesn't have to be a CEO. It can be a writer. It can be a scientist. It can be a musician, a movie maker, whatever it is. But these are people that followed their own heart and their own intuition. They did not get discouraged by failure, even though they encountered a lot of it, I'm sure. Everyone has. And they never settled. And they definitely never had that situation where they're just doing the same thing over and over every single day to collect the monthly paycheck at the end. These are not the people who are being remembered. And again, I don't want to shit on these kind of people. But if you are the kind of person who wants to do outstanding things, if you are the kind of person who wants to go beyond of what has been done in the past, and if you are the kind of person who believes that, who is irrational enough to believe that this is the kind of person who you can be, if you see yourself amongst those great people of the past, then you have to find your own voice, and you have to find your own way of putting this kind of vibe out there in the world. You have to find your way of sharing your greatness. Being an employee in whichever form is not the right setup to share greatness and experience greatness. I believe greatness comes only from the people who have done more than anyone else has done in their field, and who have pushed themselves more, who have suffered more, who have endured more. Those are the people who are being remembered for their greatness in the end. And if that is you, then I encourage you to look for those opportunities. You don't have to be stupid about it. You don't have to be as stupid as me, like 2 years ago, to just quit your job and be like, okay, gonna do my own thing. I don't know how exactly. I have no support and no money, but I'm gonna try it. You don't have to go down that path, but you have to find something, and you have to carve out that niche for yourself, where you can be truly unique and truly outstanding. So this is something that I'm gonna be working on. I don't know how exactly. I need to reflect a lot during that Christmas week where I have some time off, how I want to continue with this YouTube project, how I want to continue with my company, with my website, like which path do I want to go down. But I don't want to say like I believe I have greatness within myself. That's not exactly what I want to say, simply because it sounds so douchey and so cocky to say that about yourself. But I, at the same time, do feel like I have more of that urge than other people that I see around me. Like I see so many people, especially when I walk into the office, who are completely content with that life. And that's totally fine, but it's not me. I do have that urge, I do have that drive to do something unique and something outstanding. You can say that. And I need to find a way to channel that feeling and that urge into the right direction. So that's also something that I'm going to be working on in 2019. Well, that being said, I think that's a good point to wrap it up here. I will see you once more before the end of the year. Actually, maybe twice. How is it? Like